Right, that's enough of PDP11s for the moment, so time to look at PDP8s. I've got two of them. I'll leave the best till last. So we'll first look at this one, a PDP8A with the octal keypad similar to the 1104 and 34. This one comes in a proper deck cabinet. It comes with a, I think it's a PC04 or PC05 paper tape reader punch down here, and an RK05 disk drive. Actually came with two. There's another one down there. And these things, the RK05s, take a single platter cartridge like this, which has about the same storage capacity as one of these, so about 1.5 meg, and they weigh about 50 kilograms, and I remember it was a hell of a struggle for me to get that up there and position it into the slides and get the thing in. Quite a few years ago. I probably couldn't do it now. It'd be a two-man job. But yeah, so we'll just pull this out. It's got something's broken on the front panel there, but I'll get him out. I've never had a look inside of it. I believe I've powered it on. I don't actually remember doing that, but it'd be years ago in any case. So once again, as for the other computers, I want to just open it up to find out what sort of power connector it's got, so I can modify a dummy load to suit it for the power supply testing, which I'll need to do before I fully power it on because it's been off for so long. So let's get that out and have a look. Which is a bit awkward to get out. These two parts here clip onto these things, and those things go up here. Those things are part of mounting it onto the cabinet. So to get these undone, you've got to take these off, and then they're just hanging down by cables. These for that one, and this for the lower one. So you've got to get all four of those off, 8 screws, and then this thing that's the only thing holding this in place in the cabinet. So when you're installing it, I imagine you have to find some way of getting that exactly in position while you put these on. And only when you've done that can you then affix the two front panels. So it's a bit, you can't really have this unit stand alone with these things on it unless you bolt these straight onto the cabinet itself. But yeah, bit of a strange arrangement. And it's not light, it weighs about 25 kilos. And so let's have a look inside of it. These two cables go to the console there, which is very similar to the 1104 and 34. It's got more LEDs here, about the same number of buttons, and maybe it's got address and data, whereas the 04 and 34 just had one display which could be address or data. And this thing here is power on and boot, connected via a dip plug, which is pretty flimsy. Those plugs, those pins are very sensitive, brittle. Don't like that. Okay, let's have a look at the boards, or the main part. It's got, just have a look at the back of it first. 2 fans on the side, and obviously I butchered on a power plug, so I must have turned this thing on. I think I did. I think I might have entered just a little loop program, and as well as that there's a boot power on connector thing like the PDP11s have. Yeah, I think that's to remotely turn it on. What's it say at the back? Oh, yeah, we've got a list of circuit boards. We'll zoom in on that. So we've got 20 slots by the look of it. I don't know what these boards are, we'll find out as we go. A couple of fans on the side blowing through all the logic. And have we really got 20 slots there? No. I reckon it's about 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yeah. 9 slots. Oh, no, hang on, there's 2 more rows below that. So 11. And some of them are 5 connectors wide and some of them are only 4 connectors wide. Let's have a look in there. Don't know how much light's getting in there, but yeah, we've got 4 connectors there. 4 connectors wide for 1, 2, 3, 4 slots, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. There, 5 connectors wide. Then we're back down to 4 connectors by the look of it. Yeah, and we'll find out as we pull it out. And obviously power supply down here. Let's pull out the boards. This looks like core memory already. Here's this guy. Which is a M8315. Second slot has the console connections. And looks like some more connections for something or other there. Find out more as we go along. And this is an M8316. So I'm guessing this is another 2-board CPU arrangement. Only one more board, which is the core memory. And that's in 1, 2, 3 in the 4th slot. Looks similar to the stuff in the PDP1105. This is a H2198. So not much in this guy, is there? It's a bit weird because there must be an interface for that paper tape reader punch and also for the 2 RK05 disk drives. Unless they are handled by these here, which I doubt, maybe they are. There should be other boards for those, I would have thought, unless I've taken them out and they're floating around somewhere that I've forgotten about. Right, so as I've said, the main purpose here is not to try and turn it on, it's just to find out what connectors I need to provide for using this dummy load to test the power supply after checking for bad capacitors and replacing any that need it. So I'm trying to get the power supply out. Well, that had to be the easiest power supply removal I've ever seen on these deck things. Just a couple of half-turn quick release screws here, it goes there, and then it just slips out. It actually connects to the system via edge connectors. And if we look down in here, there's a row of connectors just for that regulator module, and it looks like the transformer, which is rather buffy, plugs into the backplane, and there's a bit of power control stuff going on down there. So to make a connector for testing this power supply may not actually be that straightforward. I'd have to use edge connectors, but I can probably come up with some leads that can screw down under these to connect to the outputs. Shouldn't be too hard. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 electrolytic capacitors that might need looking at. Funny little heatsink on the bridge rectifier. Fuses look to be okay. A couple of crowbar over voltage protection SCRs. Circuit breaker here. That's quite a neat little module. Some semiconductors down there. Right, so not much to see in this. I don't think I need to take that out. Just give it a brush and a vacuum around the fans, around this. Yeah, but there's what I meant before. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slots have a fifth connector, but most of them are full. I'll have a quick look at the processor boards. This one, the M8315, nothing very remarkable on that. Looks like all garden variety 7400 series stuff. A 20 megahertz oscillator. I don't know if any of those are ROMs, maybe there are. I'll have a look at the manual for that and see if there's anything interesting to comment. So the M8315, nothing very remarkable there. Mostly 7400 series stuff. There's a few 8T series and 8000 series chips, and there's about 8 ROMs, custom ROMs, or pre-programmed ROMs sitting there, which hopefully haven't stuffed up. And the other things of note are the 20 megahertz oscillator, and this dip switch selects the address that the processor will start running from if the auto start feature is enabled, and one of those switches controls whether or not auto start is enabled. So yeah, nothing too much there. Looking at the other board, so and in fact this is the whole CPU. The other board is not CPU. This M8316 is not CPU as I thought, it's the option board, and it contains a UART, which I guess might be that one, a parallel, general purpose parallel interface. There's a real-time clock in there, probably coming off of that crystal oscillator there, and the console interface via this cable. Yeah, so we'll have a look at the manual, see if there's anything interesting to say about what's on here. Yeah, that is the UART there. That's parallel in, and that's parallel out, and that's serial I/O from the UART. These dip switches mostly set UART options. The baud rate, stop bit, also enables 20 milliamp current loop interface for 110 baud only, and real-time clock enable. So yeah, nothing too much interesting there. He might be. Let's see what he is. Now, this guy is a 5016 baud rate generator for the UART. The real-time clock, by the way, divides down to produce a 100 hertz signal, maybe for interrupts as well. There's a socket there called J6. The connectors are J1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or maybe I've got them at the order wrong, but that's J6, and there are connections to it, but I can't find any reference to it in the manual or in the schematic. I'm not sure what that's about. So anyway, that's enough for the option board. Let's have a look at the core memory. Now I said this was an H2198, but it's actually H219B, and that's only the core plane. This board on the front is a G650, and the whole subsystem is an MM-AB 16K core memory. Yep, lots of stuff there that I hope isn't broken, because no idea how to fix it if it does go. I believe it works. I am confused about how the paper tape control, how the paper tape and the RK05 disk drives were interfaced to this thing. There must be other boards. Let's see if I can find some. Look what I found. A box labelled PDP8A with stuff in it. boards. Winter ribbons for the deck writers. Good stuff. Top connector blocks, which seem to be very common in PDP8s. Superseded language mode. Oh, paper tapes. Cables. Lots of cables. That's good. Presumably for the, I don't like the way they've been cut, for the disk drives. And let's have a look at these circuit boards. I'll put all even more cables. Yep. Stuff to do with RK05s. Bits of mounting wizzos. More paper tape. Some photos of what, I have no idea. Modification for real tape adapter. Don't know what that is. Engineering drawings. KC8A. PDP8E. Why is that in here? Another KC8A, RK05, so that's the disk drives. This is the console, this KC8A. And the option board. No, just a console. RK8J-E, disk and control. So, yes, disk controllers. Major regs. This is PDP8E stuff, I think. PCFI, the paper tape reader punch. Don't worry about that too much just at the moment. Right, let's have a look at those boards. Right, these three boards are the M7104, 7105 and 7106, and they together, and they would use some of these top connectors to join the boards together, like that. They form the RK8 disk interface for the RK05 disk drives, which presumably plug in there with some of those cables that were in that box, which unfortunately look like they've been snipped off. There's an easy disassembly method, so yeah, no worry. The other board in there that is what I was looking for is the PCO4 paper tape reader punch interface card, which would plug in there, presumably. So yeah, that explains the missing boards. I don't think I took them out, and I think they would have been out when I got the machine. So that's why there weren't too many boards inside the CPU box, because they're inside this cardboard box. Someone had taken them out before I got a hold of it, I think, part of the disassembly. They would have had to take them out to get at these wires for the cables, but they still look like they've snipped some, which is not nice. So I think that just about wraps it up for this PDP8A. The next one is a PDP8F, which we'll be looking at shortly. Hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you later.